So, hello everyone, this is the 7th episode of the MagiReco anime review. Once again, this is the version of the review that will not have spoilers for the North American or Japanese version of the MagiReco game. So if you are an anime only, this is the place to watch. So let's begin with a quick rundown of what happened in this episode. We start out with a flashback to Felicia witnessing a witch killing her parents and then assumedly contracting with Kyubey. Then after the opening we see that Black Feathers are escorting Felicia through some waterway tunnels, and the Black Feather seems to not be quite that enthusiastic about guiding Felicia, because Felicia is someone who talks quite a bit and is very childish, and maybe if the Black Feather is someone who's a bit older, they don't want to deal with bratty kids. Speaking from experience. But moving on, then next up we see that Felicia meets the Amane sisters, who are white feathers, and we know that the other person, they were black feathers is what they tell us. And the Amane sisters, I will call them the Nays from now on, because in the fandom that's what they're called, because on one hand they say nay at the end of a lot of sentences that they say. That's kind of their catchphrase. And on another hand, they are two sisters who are very close to each other. And of course, in Japanese, sisters will often refer to each other as Oni-san. So this is basically what the community has started to call them, and I think it's a good name. So from now on, they're the Knees. So the Knees, they talk a bit about the white feathers, and more importantly, they talk how they are serving the three Magias. 3 more characters, because we don't have enough characters yet, and they want to bring salvation to magical girls as a whole, which seems like a pretty good thing to do. And somehow Kyoko is a very new, fresh member of this Wings of Magias as well, who also greets Felicia. And we cut away from this, and this is something that happens a lot in this episode, where we cut away from characters doing something, and we cut to the other half of the characters, and then we cut back and from two different groups of characters. So on one hand, we have the, as I'm going to call them, Team Mikazuki, which is Yachiyo, Iroha, and Tsuruno, and on the other side we have the Black Feathers, the White Feathers, we have Kyoko, we have Felicia. Good. So the Team Mikazuki right now has Yachiyo, who said that she doesn't trust Felicia, and because she doesn't trust Felicia, she has put a GPS emitter on her. I don't think this was ever hinted at. If there was any sort of hint towards this, I missed it. But yeah, someone put a GPS emitter on Felicia because she doesn't trust her. And because of that, they were able to find out where they can go to find out where not just Felicia, but also the rest of these weird cultist-like people have gone. In the meantime, Kyoko and Felicia, they have met each other and they talk a little bit, they chat a bunch, and Kyoko tells how she is in it for the witches. She wants grief seeds, she wants something to eat as well, and she also wants to have a place to sleep. And the Black Feathers, they all provide all that, or in general, the Wings of Magias, they provide all of that, so she's in it, why not? Also, Felicia then randomly talks about having dead parents, and Kyoko is like, dead parents, I know what it's like, and gives her a Pocky, which of course we know that means they trust each other very deeply at this point. At that point, they're also then brought before the Uwasa of the Lucky Owl Water, Fukukunsei in Japanese, I can't speak Japanese, and they tell them like, hey, this is the Lucky Owl Water. Kyoko doesn't know about this at this point, so they tell it again, and they basically say, okay, you can drink this water every day, and it gives you 24 lucky occasions, but after that, you will get 24 unlucky occasions, and this will create a sort of balance, but you don't have to worry about that if you just keep drinking the water every day. Now, since Kyoko hasn't had any of this water before, she's just like, yes, sounds about fine, but I don't care, because we know that from Kyoko's backstory, she already had to deal with the sort of balance between luck and unluck, or just hope and despair. So she doesn't really want to have to deal with that again in another way, and she just declines it. And she mentions that she really just wants to have the grief seeds, while we see Felicia not drinking the water. And at this point, the niece, they say, grief seeds. Oh, grief seeds, yeah. You won't need them in this city. Oh, what does that mean? We will see later, because once again, we cut away. And we see that Team Mikazuki has arrived in the waterways, and they are greeted by the niece, who have been alerted to them by someone who I will talk about in the spoiler section, because there's, once again, a lot of stuff to talk about in the spoiler section. And the mysterious black feather who has the pink hair, that's something to talk about in the spoiler section. So we see the niece, they greet Team Mikazuki, and they talk to him a little bit once again about salvation and the release of magical girls that they are trying to achieve together with the Magias. And at this point, it becomes clear that Team Mikazuki, they don't really care. Like, mostly Yachiyo. Yachiyo is like, I don't really care for anything you're saying. Put up your fists, I'm gonna fight you. So the niece instead used this green cube, and this green cube somehow has a witch labyrinth that it creates. And when it creates this witch labyrinth, we see some sort of name written in cursive. If you can't read cursive, congratulations, you did not go to school in many different countries. But this name is something I'm going to talk about as well in the spoiler review, so look ahead to the spoiler review, which will be linked in the description down below once it has been uploaded. So the labyrinth appears, and a whole bunch of minions appear that then start to fight Team Mikazuki, and Kyoko and Felicia, they are present at the scene, who are being told to at first stay put and then later on to deal with them as well. I wonder how that's gonna go. So after they've started to fight, we just see a whole bunch of fighting going on here while they chatter and banter a little bit more, and we see that Tsuruno and Yachiyo, they fall down into another part of the labyrinth, and the Neis are jumping after them to combat them. We don't see anything of what's going on down there in this episode. They just sort of go, yeah, they're somewhere down there fighting in some manner that we're not going to animate, because animating more people fighting might dig into our animation budget. So instead, Iroha stands there once again being useless. I still can't believe just how useless Iroha is after 6 episodes. But yeah, she just stands there and tries to fire some bolts, but gets overwhelmed by minions. But as she gets overwhelmed, Felicia jumps in and helps Iroha fight against the minions. Because, of course, even if Felicia's ultimate goal is to defeat all the witches, if she sees a witch or minions of a witch in front of her, she's just gonna slam and smash. So basically, she's like so anyway, I just started blasting whenever witches or witch minions appear, so she just fights. That's what she does. Kyoko kind of doesn't give a shit. Kyoko really just thinks about herself and more about her own ideals, and decides that, well, if the black feathers or whatever the wings of Magias are saying is correct, I don't really see why I should meddle in anything that's going on right now. But still, as she sees that other people are having trouble fighting against minions, while Felicia gets connected to and sees red, Kyoko decides to just fight minions as well, because other people need help, and as we all know, even though Kyoko likes to say that she only really lives for herself, she still really likes to help people. She's still a good person at heart. So she fights as well, and because everyone else is like preoccupied with fighting in some deeper parts of the labyrinth that we never ever see, and Felicia is going crazy and seeing red, we only really have Iroha left to go after the Uwasa. So Iroha goes after the Uwasa while Kyoko basically gives her some space to do so. And in the meantime, Kyoka and Felicia are fighting more minions while once again more bantering about what they're really trying to accomplish in life. Because of course, when you're fighting against evil enemies, what you really want to do is talking to someone else about what your goals in life are. So ultimately, Kyoka and Felicia, as they're battling, and more especially Felicia, while she's going ham, she deals so much damage to all these other familiars, to all the minions that are around, to the labyrinth itself. The labyrinth itself crumbles and dissipates. And we then see that the Nees are standing there and they're having trouble. They don't really know what to do at this point because they don't have a lot of magic left. And it seems like because they don't have a lot of magic left, they would just be defeated at this point. But psych! It was all just part of the plan, because the Nees tell the rest of the team that now that they don't have a whole lot of magic left, now that their soul gems are so impure, they can unleash their special attack. And what they do is they summon their witch forms, similarly to how we saw Kaede do it, similarly to how we saw Iroha do it. And I can tell you the names of those witch forms because the names don't really matter. They're called Dum and D, so I'm just going to refer to them as Dum D. So Dum D attack the rest of the team with some nondescript attacks that we don't really get to see a lot of. But don't worry about this, because we don't have to worry about animating this fight if we instead just go to a meanwhile section where we cut to Iroha. So instead we see Iroha struggling against minions of the Lucky Owl Water, which is some sort of like drinking horn that has an owl face and a ribbon. Don't worry about how the stuff actually looks, because it doesn't matter if the design of these things makes sense or not. But this is what I like about the Inu Curry art style. It doesn't make sense, but you never really feel like it has to. Just don't worry about it. It looks nice. It looks cool. So Iroha gets assaulted by these rumor minions, and she is able to evade all of these attacks by using up her good luck, and her good luck counter is reaching dangerously low levels. What is gonna happen? It seems like Iroha might not be able to defeat all of these rumor minions, but at this point, her witch self, Joanna, appears again and uses gold experience and uses her attack to defeat all of the rumor minions, and not just rumor minions, but also defeats the core of the Uwasa of the rumor itself. And at this point, the rumor dissipates and Iroha is successful and is fine again. Nothing bad happened to Iroha after all of this, somehow. I like the implications, by the way, that if this summoning witch self and still being fine afterwards didn't exist, she would have just died there. But don't worry about that, because once again we're cutting away, and we're cutting away to the rest of the team as they are fighting the Nees as Dumdi again. And they're having trouble fighting Dumdi, but we don't have to worry about resolving the fight in any way, because as the Uwasa disappears, the Nees realize that they have fucked up. And they really should have defended the Uwasa, but now that it's gone, it's too late for that. And at this point, then Mifuyu and some more black feathers enter the room, about to whoop some ass of the Nees who've just failed. So the Nees, they go on their knees like, I'm so sorry, Mifuyu, that we failed you. And this is when also I realized that, oh yeah, Mifuyu, she's important, she's right there. So Tsuruno rushes all the way over to Tsuruno and to Mifuyu and gives her a big hug. And a nice little detail we see as well is that Mifuyu like does this gesture with one of her hands to show the rest of the black feathers that they shouldn't attack. Because these black feathers, since it seems like Mifuyu is some sort of superior to not just the black feathers but the white feathers itself, so one of the higher ups, you would say, of this organization. Since she got glomped by Tsuruno, the black feathers wanted to do something about it, but Mifuyu sort of gestured to them to not do anything about it. And Mifuyu tells Tsuruno that she is, first off, the real Mifuyu, because somehow she knows about what happened at the Seance Shrine. Why does she know about that? That's weird. And Mifuyu tells Tsuruno that she can't come home because now she's part of the Wings of Magius. She has new goals, new ambitions. She has all of these people around her that are depending on her. And so she is not willing to come back to Yachiyo, to her ex-girlfriend, and come back to the team. Instead, Mifuyu then wants to walk away. And at this point, Mifuyu and the rest, they just disappear. Yachiyo doesn't want to let them go, but it doesn't really matter because Mifuyu just walks away anyway using some magic. So it's not like Yachiyo really could do anything. And it seems like at this point, the main conflict of at least this story arc has been resolved. The rumor, the Uwasa has been resolved. These Black Feathers, Wings of Magius, they've run away somewhere else, we don't know where. And there's one part, though, that is still left that we have to deal with. And that is the question, what are we going to do with Felicia now? Because we know that Felicia is homeless. She has no close friends. She has no family. She's just a mercenary who lives from day to day. And Felicia really wants to leave again and walk away, as she always does when she is done with a job. But Iroha, she's too good of a person. She doesn't want to let Felicia walk away and be a sad loner again. So instead, Iroha wants her to live together with her, but she knows she can't really do that because she has to for one, she's living alone in a really big house. Why are her parents even allowing Iroha to live alone in this house? We don't even know. But it seems like Iroha is going to have to move to Kamihama at some point. She's kind of hinting towards this. So she can't really guarantee that she can live together with Felicia. And Felicia is just like, you know what, screw this, I don't really care. And she gets really mad and she gets really sad and starts crying. And at this point, something that no one had seen coming as you played the game, no one would ever see coming, is that Yachiyo invites both. Actually, at this point, she just invites Felicia to stay, but later she also invites Iroha to stay at her house as well. And we see that Felicia at least gets this happy ending of being able to stay with Yachiyo, someone who, I want to say, cares for her, but we know that Yachiyo doesn't really give a shit about anyone, so at least she makes food for Felicia, I guess. That's something good. And she gets to stay with Yachiyo, and later we then see in the after credit scene that Iroha also gets to move in with Felicia and Yachiyo, because the very last bit of good luck that Iroha has because of the Lucky Owl Water is that she gets to stay together with her future girlfriend Yachiyo and her future child Felicia in this giant house. And now Team Mikazuki has been officially, not quite officially, has been formed, consisting of Yachiyo, Tsuruno, Felicia, and Iroha. Nice. And we then end the episode on this mysterious text message that asks Iroha if she's a magical girl, and if she is, that she should help her, whoever this person is. So yeah, that's the point. I know that some people, for example, by the way, I want to mention something. Some people have mentioned that it is a bit weird that Iroha still has good luck, even though the Uwasa has been defeated. But I don't see the connection there, because it says you're gonna have good luck 24 times. So she has good luck 24 times. Even if the rumor has been defeated, I don't see why that should break that 24 good luck streak or whatever. But that's up to interpretation, that's up for debate. What isn't up for debate is if the end card is spoiler or not. Yes, it is spoiler. So once again, I can't talk about the end card for the umpteenth time because it's spoiler again. So if you want to know about the end card, you watch the spoiler review part of this. And if you are watching the spoiler review, you probably already know what the end card is about. So just to, once again, now that the episode has been retold, to go over what I like about the episode, what I didn't like about the episode. So I thought this episode was going to go a bit more into the trying to explain and show to the people what the Black Feathers, the White Feathers, or in general the Wings of Magius are about, why they are doing what they're doing. But even so, we only got snippets here and there, just a few snippets. We're saying like, okay, they want salvation. What they're doing is going to get rid of all the witches at some point. We don't really get too much depth into what it is, so we just kind of have to believe in Yachiyo saying that they cannot be trusted, and that's all we have to go on. So we either just believe Yachiyo that they cannot be trusted and treat them as bad guys, or instead we believe in what they are saying, that they are indeed responsible for whatever it is that is making sure that when they turn into a witch, they don't die, but they are somehow, as we see with the Nays, able to control their witch selves and then turn back into normal, and also in some sort of endgame work towards all witches being gone. And if we were to believe what the Wings of Magia are saying, seems like we should help them. Why would you not help the Wings of Magia if what they are saying is true? But at the same time, Yachiyo is saying we shouldn't trust them. But why is she saying that? We haven't really seen anything too decisive, other than some people have been abducted by rumors that afterwards were fine again. Why did Yachiyo not ask about that? Because it seems like if all the people that were abducted or like whisked away by all of these rumors were fine again afterwards, why didn't Yachiyo just ask if that was planned? Did you plan for all of these people to come back without any harm being done to them, other than having been missing for a week or something? Because if it's just what they are doing is really making sure that somehow all witches are gone and done for good, and if they are somehow making sure that they achieve this release of magical girls, whatever it is they're trying to talk about, if they are really true in what they're saying, and the only bad downside that comes of that is some people are missing for a week, I think that still makes sense for you to try to follow what the Wings of Magia are doing. Why wouldn't you help the Wings of Magia if all they're saying is true? Because I don't see why it wouldn't be true, right? We've seen that if you turn into a witch, you really don't die. They haven't lied about that. They also haven't lied about not wanting to hurt people. I mean, they haven't said it, they haven't stated it outright, but because they immediately told the main characters, we are going to give you water every day if you help us. It seems like they don't want to hurt people. It seems like it's some sort of side effect to what they are doing. So with every bit of information that we've been given, it seems like they're right. They don't want to hurt people, but it's an unintended side effect. And what they are doing really is making sure that this release, the salvation for magical girls really is happening. Why is Yachiyo so suspicious of them? Is it because she's so much of a good person that because they are abducting people that she immediately assumes they have to be the incarnation of evil itself, even if what they're doing has a positive effect? This is something that we'll have to look at in the future episodes. For right now, this is a question that we have to ask ourselves. Who is really in the right here? Why are these people doing what they are doing? Who can we believe? Who can we not believe? Who is maybe tricking other people? Who maybe has ulterior motives? And who doesn't? Who is just doing what it is they are doing given the evidence that we have? Once again, though, this is the end of the Reckless review. I'll just say that in general, I didn't like this episode that much, because I was hoping that they would put more effort into exploring a lot of what I've just told you. Like a lot of what I've just told you, I was just hoping they would explore more instead of just vaguely hinting at it. But you can also chalk that up to there just not being enough episodes to flesh this all out. We know that they won't be able to arrive at the end of the main story of the MagiReco, the game, in these 13 episodes. It takes way more than that. So given that we have that, why are they still rushing? Why aren't they spreading stuff out more? I don't know. Maybe they're going to slow down some more and actually give us some more fleshed out, some more in-depth exploration of what is going on. But until then, I don't like how the pacing seems to not slow down at all. I kept saying, like, don't worry, the pacing is fine because it's going to slow down at some point when it gets important. In my opinion, this episode was rather important and they didn't slow down. And this makes me worry. So I'm worried. This episode I didn't like that much. Overall, it looked nice, it felt nice to watch, but I'm still worried for the future. It's quite a roller coaster ride with this anime. So if you want to see the spoiler review, the differences on spoiler review for this episode, once again, there should be a link in the description once it has been uploaded. Until then, leave a subscribe, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.